There have been several advancements in technology that were previously viewed negatively. The internet has only been around publicly since the late 1980s, but it has given rise to such things as the search engine, which Google really has a monopoly over, I think. Google was going to ruin our minds and make us dumb. But when I was a sleep technologist and didn't know about a new drug that a patient was prescribed and how it affects sleep, Google was the most up-to-date information available. Not to mention more accurate information on disease and protocols for procedures were available there too. I'm sure a lot of people were upset when spell check became available. Only people with money could afford a word processor. I myself use a digital notation software so I can write out musical arrangements and hear them back with MIDI instruments to see if it's sounding the way it's supposed to. MIDI has been used by musicians for decades now as a tool to enhance music. Automation in factories have ousted workers, but at the same time elevated the precision quality, quantity, and timeliness of production. I can remember a time in middle school when I learned a little bit of HTML, only to realize that there are graphic interfaces to build the websites for you. All the outrage nowadays is over AI actress Tilly Norwood. A lot of Hollywood actors fear that they might not have jobs after what she's been able to do. Whereas I do think AI has become a tool in filmmaking, it will not replace actors. I'll explain later once I've laid out my thoughts on AI music. To preface, I'm not an AI expert. I do, however, understand how computers work and how search engines work. To me, AI is an advanced search engine capable of making connections based on the input it's been given. Let's take, for instance, an AI platform that learns how to play a game. To say that it learns really in most cases means that it instantaneously, if not more quickly than usually, processes all possible outcomes and chooses the best one. It sounds to me like a brute force method, but that's okay if it's quick enough to be effective. There are many AI platforms, and depending on what you're trying to produce, you use a different one. There are prose writers, music writers, audio-visual generators, audio restoration, and many others. So as powerful as AI computing may be, it's still pretty specialized as far as there isn't one platform to rule them all. One of my favorite things in music are cover songs, when someone takes a song and puts it in a different style or just plays it differently. In my opinion, it's one way to verify how deep and powerful a song can be. My first adventure with cover songs was in middle school listening to Weird Al and his parodies, specifically his rendition of MacArthur Park. I thought it was his own original song called Jurassic Park, later on to find out it was a Bill Webb tune. Later, I really enjoyed listening to metal covers of popular songs. Now I've become fascinated with sounds that are AI generated, but let me be clear, it's the AI generated cover songs that I find interesting, not the AI compositions. Whereas the cover songs are derived directly from an original song or songs, AI composition attempts to create an original piece, which in my opinion is not good, yet. Lately I've been listening to soul, funk, and R&B covers of some of the best 90s rock available.
On a Sunday afternoon, for what I read between the lines, your lies. What a slip, feeling like a hand in rusted chain. So do you laugh or does it cry? Reply.
It makes sense to me since rock music is derived from blues and jazz music, so the two frameworks should be interchangeable to some extent. One example is Audioslave's Like a Stone. I've always liked that song and the melody, but I always found something either missing from the song or it was a chore to listen to. And that certainly could have been what they were trying to do with it, that could add beating and emotion to the music. But when I heard the song in the context of blues and soul, I feel like I finally understood it. The chords and vocal harmonies were more complete, or more suggestive of the triads being used.
Of a book full of death, reading how we'll die alone, and if we're good, we're laid to rest anywhere we wanna go. In your house, I long to be, room by room, patiently I'll wait for you there, like a stone. I'll wait for you there alone.
One of the best cover songs I've heard is a funk version of Pearl Jam's Even Flow. The vocals are great and the band's amazing.
Even flow, thoughts arrive like butterflies. Oh, he don't know, so he chases them away. Someday, yeah, he'll begin his life again, life again, life again.
There's an impressive saxophone solo during the first post-chorus, and there are a lot of great entrances and exits and interesting feels and moments.
Kneeling, looking through the paper, though he don't know or read. Oh, yeah.
Some of the vocal passages and runs are so clean and the words are enunciated so well, they seem almost impossible to replicate by a human vocalist, but I'm no vocalist, so I wouldn't really know. All that fascination aside, there are some obvious flaws or artifacts that are noticeable to the discerning ear. If you listen closely to the vocals, especially on thin or exposed instrumental passages, they have a lot of noise around the edges of the tones. At times it sounds like there's a blend of 2 or 3 sounds to create a singular voice tone. It sounds to me like at least one of those layers inside that voice is a noise track, which I presume adds depth and texture to the tone, but also gives that extra noise. I think it also can add sharpness to an S sound, or the pop of a P helps enunciate the words a little bit better. Some of the ad-libs are gibberish, unless I just can't hear.
Your life. Water slips.
Something that tells me that they really are gibberish is how clean the vocal words are when they're singing song words. Sometimes repeated notes or stepping notes sound too perfect or too similar.
Where a moment spent with you is a moment I treasure. Don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep 'cause I miss you, baby. And I don't wanna miss a thing. 'Cause even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream will never do. I still miss you, baby. And I don't wanna miss a thing. But I couldn't find my own place. Call it a problem child, 'cause see I got too wild. But now that's how I'm getting paid. Good up, she on the stage. Going up, up, up is our moment. You know together we're glowing. Gonna be golden. Waited so long to break these walls down, to wake it up and feel like me.
Sometimes the instruments will shift notes unnaturally, either on purpose or with artifact. Occasionally, the instrument sound will change. I think I've heard a string bass transition to an electric synth bass before. In the end, remember what AI is. It's a derivative of something already created. Like I mentioned before, I've heard AI rendered classical music as an original work, and it lacks the same spark and emotion that human written music has. It uses already created content through indexed categories the user wants, and then accesses specific critical protocols via the well-written prompt to produce the thing. When I hear the AI cover of Like a Stone, I hear the Temptations. When I hear the AI funk version of Even Flow, I hear James Brown's backing band. I've never tried to make AI music, nor have I spoken to anyone who has, so I'm not sure what kind of the details the prompts they give entail, nor the library of music it takes from. So what can all this accomplish? What are the positives AI music can bring? Well, it gives consumers a chance to hear music in a way that may never really be possible. Having the power, resources, talent, and time to produce tracks isn't immediately available to most artists. Many of them are just trying to make it on their own with their original music. How many cover groups of 90s songs play in a jazz genre and are incredibly successful? I don't really know any other than maybe the postmodern jukebox. That's kind of a niche audience, like funk 90s grunge. I think an interesting thing AI music has to offer are the different avenues music can travel through. It offers a different take on sound and how music can work. Maybe you're an incredibly gifted guitar player, but as we all may know, good guitar players are a dime a dozen and they're everywhere. But maybe this one is amazing and for whatever reason never was discovered or never joined a band. That artist could use AI to fill in the gaps in order to accomplish their goal. The guitarist Buckethead is an instance of an artist using backing tracks to fill out his sound when he plays alone but live. The hit from the 90s Mambo No. 5 was made with artificial instruments. Frank Zappa, my favorite composer, used a synclavier like a synthesizer to compose music and hear it through the computer because the cost of hiring musicians and having such difficult work played well enough to record was just too much. He released a full album of synthesizer work, some of which has been transcribed for real instruments. However, the recorded sessions are never as clean and clear as the synclavier. To be sure, these are not instances of AI music, but instances of where non-human music generators are used in the greater scheme of making great music. Would Bach reprimand someone for using Sibelius or Finale to write music instead of ink and paper? One prediction I have and a hope for the future of AI music is the ability to respond and to suggest with live improvisation. That could be used as a music-making tool, but also for education. AI is not a conscious being that is capable of emotion or replicating human expression as a human can. It only recognizes the patterns that things are made of and discerns objects as either likely or not likely to be included by an algorithm written by humans. AI as we know it today is just another iteration of the digital toolbox we use for everyday tasks. The issue comes with when that toolbox is no longer used for the advancement of humanity, but its detriment for selfish reasons. Opinion alert. I think music belongs to everyone. If someone hears a song and plays it on the piano, are they stealing it? It seems arbitrary to try and control something so powerful and accessible and limit who can make what sounds. The notes were always there. The composer simply put them in order. So-called music theft or plagiarism has been around forever as well. Although Salieri probably never stole anything from Mozart, Elvis infamously used tunes he learned hanging out with black musicians like Big Mama Thornton, Fats Domino, and Otis Blackwell. Famous artists have taken songs and changed little things to make a new song and not a cover, like Tupac's I'll Be Missing You, based off the Police's Every Breath You Take. Same thing with Queen's Under Pressure and Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby. If you want to be the absolute epitome of originality, there is no original music anymore. We all use the same diatonic series of notes and the same chords and progressions, but with different rhythms, tempos, keys, and sounds. We play the same instruments and have the same time signatures. When comes the point that music is no longer original, but just derivative? With all great power comes great responsibility. The internet has rules and there are laws protecting individuals like minors from being violated online. So far it's obvious, at least with audio and visual content, if it's AI or not. AI poses a unique challenge in that there may come a time that AI-generated content is indistinguishable from real-life content. Like other tools, AI may already be used in the content we see in its original form, like a filter. A program could take the video feed and target whatever the user wants and perform all sorts of tasks, editing, production, and music. On the other hand, it can be used to make entertainment safer. Instead of using live ammunition on guns and movie sets, use AI to assist in creating the perfect shot instead of endangering the lives of cast and crew. There are several potential practical applications for AI to enhance our education and information management without taking jobs or causing harm, hopefully removing harm in the end. Besides the future of making money in music and film, AI in general does pose certain ethical challenges. Personally, I'm a humanist. I don't think capitalism is working for most people. At least it certainly doesn't support the vast majority of musicians and artists trying to make a living. As far as AI, great amounts of electricity and resources are dedicated to running server farms to compute the necessary equations to produce content. It is estimated that approximately 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of fresh water is needed to fulfill one ChatGPT query. That doesn't seem like much, but imagine how many questions are asked per day multiplied by all the users submitting prompts. Not to mention many prompts are compounded, meaning there are more than one command included, using more resources for a single entry. That energy and resources could be going to the homeless and those without the needs to survive. But we're listening to Funky Pearl Jam. The computing power could go towards curing cancer or genetic modifications so that those affected with diseases like ALS or MS might walk and function again. But we're busy watching Mr. Rogers lay the smackdown on Bob Ross.
Easy there, Fred. I don't want to wrinkle your sweater.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate the consideration. Oof. Careful with that arm.
I'm trying. You're slipperier than you look.
Maybe we should call it a draw before one of us
Needless to say, those instances occur every day, and resources are used for more frivolous commodities such as hair loss pills that I obviously do not consume. I'm a huge fan of everything NASA did in the 60s and 70s, but the fact that billions of taxpayer dollars were spent essentially on an arms race can't be neglected. It was a time during the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement. So much pain during that period, and yet one of man's greatest achievements, again in my opinion, occurred at the same time. So for now, I'm enjoying the possibilities that AI can create towards the betterment of music. It's fun, but right now that's all it is. Once those services or content are inaccessible or limited to general masses, then it's an ethical dilemma since the content came from that which was before. Like I said, all music should belong to everyone. I don't have the answers to how we support our favorite artists, big or small, or else I'd be videoing in 4K from my state-of-the-art home studio. I think we should realize that it is humans that are the real creators, and we have to draw the line as to how powerful we allow AI generation to be. Just like when I learned HTML, I was glad I took the time to understand the basics of how websites were programmed. And at the same time, I'm hoping we don't lose the basics of how music is made and who the musicians are that create the real human music. Whatever real human music is.